Welcome to True Crime Tuesday. Today I'm taking a look at Summer Wells. I have some very interesting cards on the table surrounding the energy of Summer Wells. There has been some new developments lately or been released. Her case seems to be really heating up. A lot of things that I didn't know about are starting to come out on the internet, into interviews, phone records. But I must admit, did not heavily go into the Summer Wells case. It was before my time in true crime. So I started true crime in 22 or 23. Summer Wells' disappearance was 15th of June 2021. So I wasn't actively involved in the Summer Wells case, but there is a lot of new interesting developments that are circulating around the internet at the moment. Where to start? First of all, I just want to say, first of all, I'm on one camera today, so I'm just showing you a video screen of what I'm looking at, the cards that I'm reading. And I've decided to start with my Connections Oracle, which is my child true crime deck. It's the one I use, which is soft energy for reading children. Very interesting cards to begin with. So let's start the interpretation on what I'm seeing here. And I'll go, as I'm taking a look at the cards, I'll let you know what some of the things are that's interesting circulating around at the internet on the internet at the moment. Carer, compassionate, release, freedom, confrontation or conflict, dispute with a female. Now, what's interesting that's coming out is the teacher, the church teacher. Now, I'm not saying there was a conflict. I find it interesting the cards are presenting this way. But apparently or allegedly, Candace phoned Robin, the church teacher that Summer was very close to, several times around the time she was calling 911. Now, whether she was calling for a compassionate ear, because you see the card of compassion there, or whether there was something more involved here. So the cards here are saying compassionate carer, which would be Robin, release of pressure, freedom, a conflict or a dispute with a female. I always thought it interesting. As I said, I didn't know too much about the case back when I first read on the case, and people would say, is it connected to the church? Is her disappearance connected to the church? And I didn't really quite understand what that meant, but now I understand she was very close to her church teacher, very close. And I recently watched an interview with Robin. So the next part that I want to talk about that's come up with the cards. So there's a circulating interview. I watched the interview room, which was a great interview with Hunter. Hunter is a teenage boy. He's not a teenager anymore, but he's a teenage boy that was with Summer on the day of her disappearance. So Candace took them fishing. Originally, the plan was to go fishing. The grandmother was in hospital, but plans changed because they had to swing by and pick up the grandmother from the hospital. Then they went in to put the subscription in for her medication, and that was going to take 35 minutes. So while they were waiting, they went to a swimming hole and went swimming. Now, Hunter talks about an episode that happened as they were all looking at their phones and videos on their phones. He looked up to see Summer Wells under the water. He doesn't know for sure how long she was under the water, but it shocked him enough that he dived in to save her. She came out, he said, breathing. She was fine. Interesting cards there on the table when the pan swings back around to them. So then after the swim, they went back to stop at several places, including a CBD supplier, distributor. Also another place where they went in to do some grocery shopping while Hunter and Summer remained in the car for about an hour. Hunter was concerned because he said in his words, paraphrasing of course, that he was concerned about Summer. She seemed fine, but he wondered how, he doesn't know if something was to do with her lungs, with her going under the water. You can see the card there, lungs and breathing. So her going under the water, did that affect her lungs? Also that they were in the car for such a long time. So he was concerned about those things as well. Now, the first card on the screen there that's just going off screen at the moment is family protects each other. Hunter also in that interview was quite concerned about somebody that was living on the property at the time, a male that was living on the Ben Hill Road property at the time. I have little alarm bells about that one. Doesn't appear to be in the cards on this spread, but there's alarm bells that ring there. And it was actually something that Hunter said. Don phoned Candace while they were in the car. He was concerned about the person that was living on the property. Some people don't know how he knew, because he was at work. He had the boys apparently with him at work. But he apparently, according to Hunter, phoned Candace in the car and was concerned about the person living on the property. Hunter's concerns, or I'm not sure if it was Don's or Hunter's concerns, that he was perhaps had experiences with children incidents in the past. So they were concerned for the safety of the children. Other people are saying there is connections between maybe Hunter's family and that person. This is allegedly too. This is rumors, people in comments saying these things. So I don't know if there's any facts here, but this is just what I'm reading when I read through comments on people's videos. Okay, so getting into the other things that's coming up here, I think we're looking at Grandis, the grandmother, controlling older, fragile woman. Next to that, you'll see watching over you, so watching over the whole situation. And I think that is representing the grandmother that was picked up out of hospital and taken to get her medication. In the car, she was there in the car for a bit of the time while they were swimming, and then she came back out once she'd finished on the phone. But I feel the top line is representing control, older, fragile, female being the grandmother, and then the card of watching over you, connected to the grandmother energy here. The top line, that is summer, we see youth, child energy. That is summer, neglect, lack of care. Now, it is said, allegedly, that I believe I've seen it in the interview I watched on the interview room with Hunter, saying that Candace would take substances and sometimes forget where the kids were. Now, these cards say family protect each other, child energy, neglect, lack of care from mother energy, and the card next to that is something, it was unintended, not meant to happen. Below that says confused state of mind, indicating some kind of altered state or substances. And one of the stops they did make, according to Hunter, was at a CBD or vaping. They sell vapes there as well. Supplier. He only mentioned the vapes. He didn't mention anything else. And next to confused state of mind, unclear, unprepared, not ready for this. Unprepared, not ready for this because of a dazed state of mind and mental struggle. So very interesting cards on the table. Now, the other two that I haven't talked about this is the snake card, which says lies and dishonesty. So there's a level of lies and dishonesty around this, and needing to take a look at this case from a different perspective. Perhaps there's regrets in this case around this situation. Lies and dishonesty, family protect each other on the diagonal. But looking at the situation from a different perspective. Interesting. So this first layout is just an energy read around what happened on the when summer disappeared. Now, according to Hunter, it was only not too long after he was dropped off that they received the call that she was missing. So he was quite concerned. According to him, Summer was like his little sister. So let's take a look now with the investigation oracle. And first of all, we might take a look at a spread for Hunter and a spread for Robin, since they're already up on the table. Even though I'm feeling energies more so, let's take a look at the person that was staying, because he doesn't appear in this spread, but I have red flags around that. So the next spread that I do will be with my harder deck. It will be my investigation oracle, and I'll be looking at the person that was staying on the property. This is card reading only. It's all alleged, no facts when I'm reading the cards. So let's read what the investigation oracle is saying about one of the questions I asked is, where is Summer right now? What happened to Summer is one of the questions, but also I was concerned about one of the people that was staying on the property or on the farm at Ben Hill Road, possibly staying in a shed. So let's get in and have a look at what's going on here. Now, the first card that's come up in the top of the screen is the narcissist energy, sitting next to the deal organized, and then sitting next to the chariot, so the car. So there's something interesting in this case, which also alerts my attention around the vehicle, the truck. Now, two things. One was allegedly, and I'm not 100% sure if I've got my facts right here, Robin from the church husband, I believe, sold Candace a truck. That could be a deal organised, money exchanged for a vehicle. The other thing that's interesting is one of the vehicles or the trucks apparently, allegedly, was taken to a neighbour's house, or a neighbour had the truck there. And was it Candace that was seen walking back from that property at the time of the disappearance? So during the search, I believe. Now, I'm not 100% sure of my facts there, but something strange about the vehicle, the truck. If you know what this is, put it in the comments for everybody to know. There's something going on around a truck or a vehicle. It is showing on the cards that it's a significant thing in this case. A deal organised, possibly to do with vehicle transportation. Was that while Summer was in the car? Sitting below that is a stranger. Body is hidden. Summer is hidden. Doesn't have to be a body. And please note there's no death card here on the table as well. The Tower card brings chaos. So, and I believe from memory when I read on her before, I was picking up a lot of chaos in her household. Now, whether it means that she's in a derelict building because it says Summer is hidden in a old building, something connected somehow to a stranger perhaps. Hangman sits on the other side of stranger, and hangman is all about delays or sacrifice. Money involved, you can see diagonal sitting below the body hidden or Summer hidden. Money involved. In her disappearance, to do with her disappearance. But there is a web of lies sitting on the other side of that one. So it says web of lies around her missing, money involved. That's interesting. Purposely disappeared. Somebody was unaware of the situation or the surroundings, but somebody else was watching down the bottom. So purposely disappeared. Below, above that says she had to get away or to get her away from a situation. Perhaps it was mother that was unaware of surroundings at the time, given the last spread that we had, but somebody else was watching. It says stalker being watched. There appears to be some kind of confrontation. Again, we see aggressive attack down the bottom sitting next to please find me. So something happened. Now, I believe in this case, one of the neighbours heard a scream. I think I have the right case. This is me just thinking back from a few years ago, watching a interview from a neighbour a few years back. So from memory, I think they heard a scream. So some kind of aggression or aggressive attack before she disappeared, because it's sitting next to please find me. Above the please find me, when it gets back around to it on the screen, next to I had to get away, you see the doors there. It says behind closed doors, missing. Either a missing piece behind closed doors or she is behind closed doors, missing. Above that again, confrontation. Cannot. I wonder if cannot means Candace. I wonder if that's what the cards are saying. Candace. Okay, not seeing. Or confrontation around Candace. Okay, was Candace involved in... Okay, I have my dowsing rods here. Was Candace involved in a confrontation of some sort? That's a no. Did some kind of confrontation take place on the property? Yes. Was a confrontation with the grandmother? That's a possibility. Was there a confrontation with the person that was staying on the property? Yes. Was Don involved in that confrontation? Yes. Please point to what's significant on the table here. Please point to the most significant piece of information on the table here today surrounding the disappearance of Summer Wells. Body is hidden, tower chaos, so a chaotic situation, or body is hidden, chaos. Now, up the top, I haven't spoken about crime of passion, sitting next to somebody that is in the justice system, perhaps had prior convictions or some kind of prior legal battles, because we're seeing the justice card, the law, the legal. Yes, the rods are saying yes. Some kind of justice around somebody to do with crime of passion or desire. Was that connected somehow to Summer Wells? A slow yes. Okay, was the church in any way connected to the disappearance of Summer Wells? That swung out no. That was one of the questions I got in my comments years ago. Was somebody staying on the property connected to the disappearance of Summer Wells? That's a yes. Now, there was many people staying on the property. Was there somebody else involved that was not staying on the property? Yes, but very slow yes. Maybe they have knowledge about something, information about something. Was there some kind of deal organised or money involved in the disappearance of Summer Wells? Kind of, but no. We've got a very slow swinging yes, but then a definite no going out there. So, okay, was it money for something else, not summer? Yes. So the money involved card connects, but not so much for like a sale. Am I right? Thank you. Was Summerwell harmed? Summer Wells, was she harmed? Yes. Was that by somebody that was living on the property? Yes, but you have to think too, that's a very broad term too, the way I've asked that. She could have fallen over, that's harm. She could have had a fight with a brother, that's harm. Okay, let's point to some of the cards on the table. Is the truck, one of the trucks, significance? Yes, in this case, yes. Is that why it was removed from the property? Vehicle moved. Yes. Is there something strange about what the positioning of the milk bottles in the car? There is something strange. Why were they moved? Why was they originally in the middle and then moved to the side, the milk bottles in that photo? What's unusual about that? Please show me on the cards. Okay, there's no card here. Is that significant somehow in her disappearance? No. Is law enforcement any closer to solving this case? No movement. Internet seems very active at the moment around Summerwell's case. Is law enforcement getting any new leads out of that information? No. Not new leads. Are they aware of all the facts that we're seeing on the internet? Yes, that's a bit obvious. Will something come out on the internet by one of the sleuths that provides further information? Yes. The missing piece. Is there something significant here about the behind closed doors? Yes, it is on the table. Was Summer Wells put behind closed doors? No answer. I was asking two things. Was Summer Wells alive and stored somewhere? No answer. Pointing in a different direction, I'm picking up. Was Summer Wells taken somewhere in a vehicle? They pointed me in a different direction towards the vehicle. Was Summer Wells taken somewhere in a vehicle? Oh, that's very slow. Very slow, yes. So there's something strange about that. More clarity, because she was taken somewhere that day in a vehicle. She went to the swimming hole. After the swimming hole, when they did Summer Wells return home after the swimming hole? After they went swimming, did Summer Wells make it home? Yes. It's unusual though. Did Summer Wells arrive home safely after swimming? They're not moving. Because it's phrased wrong. It's ambiguous. Was she alive? Was Summer Wells alive after the swimming? Yes. Did she make it home alive after the swimming trip that day? Yes. So from there, did she disappear and walk off the property? Did Summer Wells walk off the property? No. Was Summer Wells injured? They're kind of moving in towards yes, but they're not yes. Thank you. Did Summer Wells was taken off the property after they returned home? That's a strong yes. Did Summer Wells know the person? That was a yes. Let me ask that again. A vehicle took Summer Wells off the property. Once she returned home, did she know that person? Yes. Did they take her and put her behind hide her behind closed doors? Thank you. Did Summer Wells know that person well? No. It wasn't a no, but it was a little bit. Thank you. Was she in danger being removed off that property? Hmm, interesting. Turned into a yes, but not quite a yes. Okay, I'm gonna leave the rods there because the rods are new for me, so they're not I can't put 100% accuracy in them because I haven't tested them well enough, so I won't do any more of the reading with the cards. Now with the rods, let me see if I've just gone through all the cards. I believe I have. So let's do one final spread, what the cards want to reveal. Final spread for today. I'm using my case clarifier today. That is just a deck that I'm testing for true crime. It's not one that's available at the moment. It may be a limited edition sometime during 2026. So just taking a look at, and I do apologize for my handheld movement around. It's actually quite frustrating for me having to record this way. The flow for me is just not the same as normal. When I get to just lay the cards and just read, I've had to stop and start to record it so you could see what the cards are on the table as well as the interpretation. Next time I'll either just do the hand shot or I will replace that second camera. But let's get into the reading for the final spread. Okay, first of all, I'm very drawn to the mother figure leaving to do with addictions, which is substance abuse or substances. So, mother figure, you can see in the corner there, sits next to leaving and sits next to addictions. I wonder, did she leave the property once they returned to for some reason? I don't know if that's ever been said, but I wonder if that's the case given the information there. Is the I think when she went under the water, sitting next to retaliation. There is something there about the Eight of Pentacles examining something of value up the top there. Expert skills, it says, but the image is making me look at somebody looking at something, greed in mind, for its value. Temperance card is suppression, but it's interesting how she did go under the water. Sits next to retaliation. Okay. Implicated, suggested involvement sits on top of mother figure, you can see there. Executive or orders given, leaving, to leave. Evidence, well, if we don't look at the DNA one as DNA and we look at that instead of just evidence, it sits on top of the devil, which is all about addiction. So looking at evidence around addictions could be a possible periphery to look at. It's been a bit of a longer reading, bit of a frustrating reading for me. Let me know what your comments are. I might go through and do it in a more flowing way like I normally do, using some of the questions that you have in the comments. So I'll read through your comments and your opinions, your theories. I'll read them on screen. If you don't mind me using your name, do let me know in the comments that that's okay to use your name. But yeah, I might have a look at this. The cards have brought out some really interesting things today, but I just want to do it when I'm in a better state, flowing reading state. The back and forth of recording the cards and then the video has just been too frustrating for me to get deep into trance state. But I hope you enjoy today's video. I hope that you it something here makes sense to you. You understand some part of that, and if you do, please do let me know. But I'll be back again next Tuesday.